Welcome everybody to our session today. And as Brian said, we're going to be talking today about using Microsoft Planner and To Do. These are two applications that I seriously live and breathe in because I always need to know what do I have going on. But there's definitely been some changes to these applications over the past few months, and I want to make sure you're comfortable with what these changes are and how they're going to benefit you. So Microsoft has always had a task list option in Outlook. That is no longer available. We now use this app called To Do. If you have the newest version of Microsoft Outlook, which I'm showing you the new version right now on my screen, um, it no longer includes the task option on the left-hand side, just so everybody is aware of that. We now have the icon for To Do. So this app called To Do is your personal task list, but it's connected directly with Outlook and it's connected with Microsoft Planner. So we integrate the three applications together. Well, technically it integrates with 365. So when we talk about using To Do, this is going to be your go-to place. So if in the past, and if you kind of think about how you do things right now, do you have sticky notes? Do you have scratch pieces of paper? Do you have paper notebooks? How are you keeping track of what it is that you need to do? Um, I even have clients that will use a whiteboard and they just kind of write down everything that everybody's working on a whiteboard. So whatever your current process is, it may not be working the greatest for you. These are going to be tools that you already have as part of your 365 suite of applications. So we definitely want to be taking advantage of them. Use what we have instead of needing to go outside of your Microsoft apps. I can open Microsoft To Do and have access to my task list multiple ways. Coming here through Outlook is going to be one way. So I can go to the left-hand side and simply click the To Do app icon. But I can also do this from online. So if I log into my Microsoft account, I can go to my apps launcher where I have access to all of my apps, and you can see this blue check mark icon for To Do. I can use it from here as well. But that's not the only places, but we'll get to the others in a few minutes. First, what exactly is this program called To Do? Well, as I said, this is where you would go to really keep track of the tasks you need to work on. Technically, we could share some information in here, but you really want to think about it as your personal storage location for your tasks. On the left-hand side, there's a navigation pane to take you into different areas of your tasks. It has built-in filter options. I'll walk through those with you, but first I wanted to start just in this tasks category. So from this left-hand side, I'm on tasks. And you can see I have a list of my current tasks. Down at the bottom, I have completed. So I don't want to focus on the tasks that I've already done. So they are in their own category, and I can click on it to expand it to see the completed tasks, which as you can see are checked off and crossed out on my list. They don't disappear when you mark them as completed. They stay here in this completed category, so you can still get back to them. You can always delete them if you want to delete. Otherwise, they will be available for you to go back to and review. Otherwise, how do we get tasks added in? You just, and there's multiple ways to do this, go to the top and just click Add a Task. You can then type in what the task is that you need to complete. So let's say that I need to do a 2025 review of accounting processes, as an example. Oops. So I could just type that in and press my Enter key, and I automatically have that task added in to my list. Okay. So here's my task that I just added, this 2025 review. The reason it's organized the way that it is based on the due date. So this is the first task that doesn't have a due date. So right now it's organized by due date. And notice in my due date column, I have two that are red. Red means they're overdue. They had a due date of 11/29 and 12/02, so they're overdue. Notice on the left-hand side, we have this circle. This circle is where we can go to tell the computer that we completed a task. We just click the circle. It removes it. You didn't hear that, but there was a chime that I just heard, and it will automatically remove the task from this current list and put it in the completed category. So super easy to do that. But what if I have more details about a task that I want to track? Like, what is the due date? When do I need to start it? You can always go back to a task and just click on it. When you click on a task from the list, it opens up a pane on the right-hand side that allows you to add in additional details. Starting at the very top, you can see where it says Add Step. Add Step is a really great tool that if there's multiple things that I need to do to complete this task, the review of accounting process, I can click Add Step and type in what my steps are. So I need to review 2024 processes, and maybe I need to talk with the COF. I need to talk to the vendors. Whatever it is you need to do to complete that task, you can put them in as steps. Then those steps can be marked as completed as you go along, so that you know that when you completed those steps, that the task is done. Also on the right-hand side, there's a feature here called Add to My Day. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. I have a Remind Me, which I personally cannot live without. So if I click Remind Me, I can put a reminder as to when do I need to work on this task. So I'm going to say pick a date and time, and I'm going to say I want to be reminded on Monday the 9th, and I want to be reminded at 1 p.m. I'm going to click Save after I choose that date and time. I could turn this in, forgot the due date. I'm going to add a due date and say that this is going to, and I'm going to pick a date again, and say that this is actually due on the 13th of December. I have a reminder for the 9th. It's due the 13th. I'm going to save that, and I could put this in as a reoccurring task. So if it's something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis, you can do that. Also, we can pick a category. So if you're using categories in your Outlook, it's the same categories that we have here available in To Do. So if you want to mark a category for it, all you have to do is click on the name of the category and it will mark it. Also, what you have available is the ability to add a file. I like this because of the fact that if I have a file that I'm working on that is directly related to this task, when my reminder pops up, I can go into the task and I can have access to all the details about the task. So everything can be in one central location. Also down at the bottom, I can add in notes. And typically for me, if there's certain things, like don't forget to do this or whatever the case is, you could be typing all of that so you have everything related to it in one place. What I used to do was I had sticky notes and scratch pieces of paper all over my desk, and it was very confusing and hard to keep track of things. Once you're done, and one more thing. One more thing I want to point out. At the very top, there is at the top right of this right-hand side of the screen is a star icon. You'll see the star in multiple places. You can see it back in the task list on the left-hand side of the screen as well. That is where you could mark a task as being important. So I'm going to click the star at the top right to mark this as important, just so you can see I'm doing that. Now, I'm done with entering the information on this right-hand side. I could go to the bottom right, go to the bottom right-hand side of the screen and click Hide Detail View, and it shrinks that pane over to the right. If I want to reopen it, I just simply click the task again. Otherwise, right now I am using a view. At the very top of this window, we have two icons for views. One is called grid and one is called list. Just so you can see the difference between the two, the list view will show me additional information right underneath the name of the task, as opposed to giving me columns going across. The grid view gives me the columns going across instead of below it. It's a personal preference, just so you know you have those choices. But I want to talk about a few other things related to, so what's going to happen with this task? How do I know when I should work on it and things like that? So you can have a more, what do I do to know what to do today? So on the left-hand side, we have different categories that the system can filter your task list. So starting at the important category, I'm going to click important. These are all the tasks that I have told the computer by clicking that star that they were important tasks. So what I kind of do is I come in to I look at my Outlook calendar to see what I have going on for the day. I come into my to-do, not just this way, I'll show you another way, but I come into my to-do to see what do I have going on. I can look at my task list and see, do I have anything that I'm supposed to be working on today? Reminders can help with that. Otherwise, I go straight to once I know my schedule and I know how much extra time I have in the day, I come to my important list and I look at my overdue tasks to see if I can get those finished up today. Because what we want to do is add the tasks for today to a category called today. So on the left-hand side, it says my day. That is used to say, I want to focus on working on these tasks today, Thursday, December 5th. I want to work on these tasks. Otherwise, if you have 50 tasks or 25 tasks or whatever in your task list, it could be overwhelming when you're looking at all of those at one time. Microsoft has a lot of focus features that we can be using. And with that feature called My Day, we can really be focusing in on the tasks that we want to work on today. So I'm going to go to one of these. I'm going to go to this one called the one that I just created called 2025 Review. When I click on it, up at the top of the right-hand side here, I have this Add to My Day. If I click that, it has added it to the left-hand side to the category called My Day. So a lot of times for me, I look at my calendar, I come to my to-dos, and I see what is either overdue that I need to work on today, or what is marked as important that I need to work on today. Or is there anything that I was supposed to, that I put in my reminder too that I need to do today? I'm going to add them to my today. So now I have a filtered list of just the tasks I'm going to focus on to work on today. This to me is one of my favorite features when it comes to working with my tasks, because I don't want to be overwhelmed with everything else. This is what I want to focus on. The best part about this is it clears itself out at the end of every day. So if you don't come in and say, I completed this, it's going to be gone regardless. It's not going to be here tomorrow because it's new every day. The task doesn't disappear. It's still in your task list. It's just not going to be in this filtered list for my day. Okay? But let's say that I want to see everything else that's going on with my tasks. Back to the left-hand side for a moment, there's a category here called planned. If I click planned, these are all the tasks that I have planned out that have dates to them. Notice I have a category at the very top that says earlier. If I go to this earlier category, these are all tasks that are actually overdue because they were supposed to be done earlier. So you can see, and I just haven't gone in here and marked them as complete because I use this for training purposes. So I like leaving them there so people can see this. But just so you know, this is a great way for you to go back and say, okay, here's some things that are overdue that I was supposed to already have done before today. So maybe I can work on this hire now for warehouse. So I could go to And by the way, I just clicked on this Hire Now for Warehouse. And if you look at the right-hand side of my screen, it looks different than the task that you saw a minute ago. That's because this task was assigned to me coming from Microsoft Planner. This is coming from Microsoft Planner. Now, I'll get to that in just a minute, but you can see that it has different categories or different features on the right-hand side. It's actually showing you a link, and it says Open in Teams. It's showing you a link to go directly to the plan that that task resides in. But if I know I want to work on this today, all I have to do is at the top of the right-hand side, click Add to my day. So now that's a task I'm focusing on working on today. But back to this kind of middle part of the window, I was in this category called earlier. I'm going to shrink that back up by clicking on this arrow. I don't have any tasks that I'm supposed to do today. This is one of my favorite views, by the way. This is the view I probably use the most at the beginning of my day to find out what should I do. Because I go to my earlier because those are overdue. I go to my to today, but I don't have anything in the category for today, so I don't need to worry about that. But then I could look to see, okay, if I'm good on my earlier, I could go to tomorrow and see what I was supposed to be working on if I have extra time today. And I could add that to my day. Otherwise, you're going to see based on week ranges or later, you can see all these other tasks, how they're organized. This is a great tool. But the thing about this is I have quite a few tasks here. They're not all coming from to do. Some of these tasks are actually coming from Planner. They were assigned to me through a plan that I'm working with other people on. One, if it's my task, I'm entering it in to do. But if I'm sharing tasks with other people, I'm going to use Planner. And I'll get to Planner in just a minute. But I want to finish out the left-hand side here real quick. So on the left-hand side, I have a category called Assigned to Me. If I click that, it will show me every task that has been assigned to me from all of those other project plans. I should say Planner plans, Microsoft Planner, the application. So these are assigned to me personally, so I know I'm responsible for these. I don't want to have to look at the entire plan where everybody else is working on their things. This is helping me to focus on just what I'm responsible for. So once you see Planner, this is a great feature that we don't have to look at the entire plan. We can just look at our tasks that we have to see. So just so you know, if I click on any of these on the right-hand side, I get that same link to the task list, and I could open it directly in Teams because these are directly connected to Microsoft Teams in the Planner app. I'll show you how that works here in just a second. But otherwise, on the left-hand side here in To Do, I have a category called Flagged Email. If you are a flagger, you're in your email and you flag a message, you can view those flagged messages here. Notice that it also organizes them based on date ranges. It groups them together. So I have one from earlier, but then I don't have any others that I have flagged for today or for tomorrow, etc. So just so you're seeing that I really only have one email that is flagged right now, and I can go to that. If I wanted to click on it, I could go to that. I'm a flagger. I call it flag it or forget it. So when you're in Outlook, take advantage of flagging emails because they become a to-do, and they'll show up here as well. It's easier for me to find my flagged items by coming to to-do than being in my mailbox folders. So just so you're aware that that's how that works. But also on the left-hand side, when you are using this app called To Do, on the bottom part of the left-hand side, you can see that I have this area here called HR Insurance, and it says HR Benefits, Marketing, and then it has Billboard, Social Media. And down at the bottom of that, it says New List. we can create a list of tasks. So if you're being assigned to do multiple tasks that are related to one thing, you could create a list for it. So if I click on social media as an example, I named the list. So when I clicked new list, I gave the list a name. I named it social media. And then on the right-hand side, I added in the tasks that were related to social media. Just by going to that add a task, I typed in the details just like I did before, same task details. I can put in due dates, all of that. But this is just another way that we can organize tasks that are related to each other. So if I click LinkedIn, on the right-hand side, I have the same features that you saw earlier because LinkedIn could have multiple steps, so I could add steps to it. So I love this because a lot of times it's not just one task with some steps. I have 5 tasks that are related to the same topic. So these are all related to social media. But I have more things going on with marketing. I have billboards. So I created a new list called billboards where we're going to do some advertising on billboards. So I put the separate tasks related to billboards right here. These are all things I'm personally working on. I'm not sharing this with anybody else. This is still my personal task list. But just so you can see, on the left-hand side, if I click where it says new list, I can just type the name of the list. So I'm going to say insurance for 2025. I pressed enter and it automatically added this new list. On the right-hand side, I now have a way that I can enter in all the tasks related to insurance. So I'm going to say I need to review the 2024 insurance plans because everybody's talking about insurance this month. So just so you could see, I could continue to add these to the list. But what it's doing on the left, just so you know, is it's putting this as its own list. But some of these others, I have this HR insurance with the HR benefits, billboard, social media, those are in a group. On the right-hand side of new list is a plus sign that you could click to create a new group because you could have multiple lists related to a group. This group, I should say this list, insurance for 2025, is really related to HR insurance. I could take this list, drag it up to the group for HR insurance, and release my mouse. Now this group can be a part of HR insurance. Or I could drag it, and I'm kind of just dragging and dropping it so you can see. I can drag and drop it wherever it needs to go. So we can always rearrange these and have them organized so that you know what belongs to what. So I love this. This is so much easier than the old way of doing tasks. So they kind of took the old Microsoft tasks, and now we have 2 different ways to do things. We have to-dos where it's your personal task list, and we have Microsoft Planner, which is for working with multiple people. The old task feature tried to do that, but it didn't do it very well. Now we have a full-blown way to be able to share tasks and assign tasks to other people. And it's part of your 365 suite, so it's not an additional add-in of a program, and it's going to be similar to what we're doing here. So let's take a look at Planner. I'm going to do this a couple of different ways. And by the way, to do, of course, can be done a couple of different ways as well. So I'm in the online version of to do right now. Just so you know, Planner and to do can also be used on your phone. So if I don't have my computer with me, I don't have to worry about it. I can have the apps right on my phone as well. They can sync then, of course, to my Microsoft account. Okay. But anyway, if I wanted to go to Microsoft Planner, one way to do that is to go to my Microsoft account. So if I log in online to my Microsoft account, I can go to my apps launcher. From there, I can choose the icon here for Planner. When I open up Microsoft Planner, you're going to see a couple of things are going to be very similar to what we just saw when we were in the to-do. On the left-hand side, you're going to see my day. If I click my day, you're going to see the task that I had added to my day. So here's the task that I added. So I was going to work on that task that was due back in November, and I'm going to work on the one that I had just added. Even though the 2025 review of accounting process was done in my to-do and it's my personal task, I could still access it coming here through Planner. So I'm in Planner more than I'm just in to-do, because here I'm going to see and I can add tasks that are for to-do just for me, or I can be working on plans that I'm sharing with my coworkers or people outside of my organization. So on the left-hand side, I can go to My Tasks. This will give me a list. Depending on the category I choose at the top, it will give me a list of my tasks. If I click the All category at the top, this is every task that I have going on right now. Yes, it's a very long list, but as you can see in the due date, a lot of these are overdue because they're red. And by the way, we can sort by these columns based on looking at this list. I could go to due date and say I want to sort it descending. I want to sort it ascending. So just so you could see, you could do that. I love that. So anyway, just so you could see that. But otherwise, you have the columns showing you all these different details about each task. When you look at the plan column, the plan column is going to show you what category it comes from. Is it coming from a planner? Which this one is coming from the new employee task list. This is coming from Project Brief. This one is coming from my flagged emails. And if I scroll down, I have ones that are coming from private tasks. The private tasks is actually my to-dos. Private tasks is to-dos. But this is everything that I personally am working on from wherever, from whatever program, from Planner and to-do. So up at the top, though, I have the ability that if I just want to see my private task coming from to-do, I can click Private Tasks. I also have Assigned to Me. These are the tasks that someone or myself have assigned to me. They are most likely going to be related to a plan. The plans can come through Teams. A plan can also be residing in a SharePoint site, or a plan can just be part of Planner. So we can access our plans and our tasks from multiple places. I can access it through To-Do. I can access them through Planner. I can access them through Teams or SharePoint. It's crazy. We don't have to, it's the days of us needing to jump hoops and go to one application to do things and then a different application to do something else. We don't do that here in 365. That's why I love this. So I want to be able to get to everything that I personally need from multiple places, depending on where I am and what I'm working on. So just so you could see at the top, we also have this category called flagged emails. That's going to show me any of my messages that I had flagged. So I don't have to be in to-do. I don't have to be in my mailbox folder to see my flagged messages. I have them here as well. But back to the left-hand side, I'm going to click My Plans. My Plans will show me a list of the plans that I am a part of. So if somebody else creates a plan within Microsoft Planner app and they assign me to a task, I'm going to see that plan listed here because I'm a part of it. But up at the top, these are my recent plans. I have a shared, which means they're shared with me. I'm a part of it. I also have personal, which is going to be the plans that I personally created, or I can go into the pinned plans. If you look at this list of pinned plans, that means that I went to this push pin when I hesitate on it, I've got a column for push pin. These are showing on the left-hand side under this category called pinned. So if these are the tasks, or the plans, I should say, if these are the plans that I'm working on most often right now, maybe not next week, but right now, I have them pinned so that they're quicker and easier to get to. Okay. So just so you know, I see this when I come into my plans. So I could go to an existing plan, or I could start a brand new one. On the left-hand side at the bottom of the window, you're going to see New Plan. If you click New Plan, it's going to show you a list of different templates, or you could start with blank. It's just like creating an Excel file. You could start with blank, or you could choose a template. Excuse me, tickles. I happen to have an additional license. I have what is called a premium license. So up at the top, you're seeing basic and premium because I have an extra license for Microsoft Project, just so you're aware. So I can use some additional planners that you may not have available, but I'm not going to go into those today, but just so you're aware. But if I look at this list, I could do a template so that it's going to give me some starting things already, or I could just simply start in a blank. And I want to start in a basic blank one so that you can see what it looks like. I'm going to click basic up at the top. When I do that, it wants to know, what do I want to name this task, this planner, this plan? So I'm going to say that this is going to be 2020, oops, sorry, I have to click in there, 2025 advertisements. And then I can say add it to my pinned plan so it's available on the left-hand side, and I'll go ahead and do that because it's something I'll be working on. If I had a group that I wanted to add it to, a Microsoft group or Outlook group, I could do that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to click create. So you can see what it's going to give you by default. You will see that up at the top you have different view icons. We have grid view, board view, schedule view, and charts. Right now I'm on board view, and you can see on the left-hand side here, under to do, I have add task, or my cursor is already blinking to add in a new task because I don't have any. So I'm going to put in a new task, and I'm going to say we want to do some billboard advertisements. And I'm going to set a due date for this. I'm going to say this is due on the 23rd, and I'm going to click assign. And I'm going to assign this first one to myself. So I chose my own name to assign it to. Then I'm going to add in another task. So right now I can see this one called billboard ads. I'm going to add in another task by going to this blank placeholder here for add a task name. And I'm going to put in that I want to do LinkedIn. And I'm going to set a due date. But this time I'm going to assign it to somebody else. I'm the owner of this task list, but I could assign this to someone else. So I started typing the name of a coworker. I'm going to click student one. They're part of my domain. And it says this plan has not been shared yet because I haven't shared it with anybody, added anybody to be a part of it. So it's asking me if I want to create a group so that everybody that we assign things to can be a part of a group together. I'm going to click add group. So now I have add members to create a new group. I could continue to add additional people to assign tasks to, but I'm just going to click create group. So anyway, now I have a way that I can keep everybody organized. We have a shared email, we have a shared calendar and stuff along with being in the group, but I can assign other people to work on this plan with me. So I'm not going to do this all by myself. I'm going to actually want to be assigning other people to the tasks. So I'm going to click assign again. And now when I click on the assign, I have student one to be available to assign tasks to. When you assign someone to a task, they will receive an email notification letting them know that they were assigned to that task. The email will give them a link to get to the plan. Otherwise, they will also have that task in their task list, in to do, and in planner. So it automatically, because I assigned myself, sorry, my headset is falling off. When I assigned myself to this billboard ads, I'm going to show you where it went because it's in to do, but it's also in planner. It's in to do, but it's also in planner. So I'll come back and show you how that works. But as you keep adding tasks to this plan, on the right-hand side, you can see where it says add new bucket. You can organize your tasks into buckets. So in to do, we talked about creating a list and then grouping the list together. Here in Planner, we can use buckets. So if I click add new bucket, I can give the bucket a name. So let's say that I'm going to have paper ads and I'm going to press enter. All the tasks related to paper ads are going to go under that bucket. I can have as many buckets as I need to organize my tasks, just so you can see that you could do that. So this would be one way to create a new plan and be able to assign other people to it. Now, just so you know, at the top right, I could go to share and I could share this with other people. So when I click share at the top right, I could enter new people to be a member. So if I want somebody else to be a member of this, I'm adding in a Gmail account just so you can see. Come on. It's really being slow. I won't worry about it right now, but just so you know, you can add other people to be a part of this plan. But anyway, this is one way that you could get started with creating a plan. But I'm going to go back to the left-hand side here real quick, and I'm going to go to my tasks again. And I'm going to go to assign to me. The task that I just added is listed. I didn't put any detail to that. I should go back. Let me put in some detail. Sorry. I'm going to go back to this billboard. I went to the 2025 advertisements. I'm going to go back to this billboard ads because I forgot to show you the details. So when we were doing a task in to do, we had the details on the right. Here we have more details than we did in the to dos. So you can see that I can add a label to it up at the top. I could choose which bucket I wanted to go to. I could put in a progress. I have a priority. I have a start date, a due date. So I need to start it on the 9th because it's due on the 23rd. I can make it reoccurring. I can add notes to it. And in to do, we had steps. Here in planner, we have checklist. So if I have multiple things that need to be completed for completing this task, like I have to create a table, I have to report updates, I can type in everything that I need to do to complete this. I can attach files and I can do comments back and forth with my coworkers that are a part of this plan. When I'm done, I just close this window and it has updated this task. So I said to move it over to the paper ads. Just so you know, I can click and drag this task to any bucket I want. I just moved it by clicking and dragging it back to my to-do column, my to-do bucket, just so you could see. But I can see that it's high priority because of the exclamation mark, and I can see it has 2 items in the checklist. If I'm done with this create table, I can check it off and it removes it from my view and it shows me I completed 1 of 2 items. I see the due date and I can see that I'm assigned to it. I can click on it at any time to go back to it, just so you're aware of that. But back to the left-hand side to my tasks. I'm going to sort by title, just so you can see. So everything that I sort by these all the time, ascending, by priority, by due date. We have all these different options of how we can organize things. So just so you could see that again. But I'm going to go back to do. Back here in to do, if I go to assign to me, here's my billboard ads. So just so you're noticing that it carries with you. Everywhere you go between to do and planner, you're going to have access to that task. Okay. But let me go back into Planner again. And by the way, just a reminder, I came into Planner by going to my Microsoft account online, and then I opened the app for Planner. That is not how I personally use Planner. So let me show you how I really do it. I go to Microsoft Teams. Here in Microsoft Teams, and let me just maximize this window for you. Here in Microsoft Teams, on the left-hand side, I can go to View More Apps. I can choose Planner, and because I use it 99% of the time through Teams, I can right-click on the icon from the left-hand side and pin it. So every time I'm in Teams, Planner is right here. It is exactly the same planner that you saw when I went to the internet. I'm always in Teams, so I wanted quick, easy access to get to the application. So we can have it right here in Teams. This is usually where I use it from, 99% of the time, seriously. But you're going to see exactly the same things. On the left-hand side, I have my day, I have my tasks, I have my plans, so I can get access to anything that I need. But to be honest, a lot of my plans are part of Microsoft Teams in Teams. I do have the newest version of Microsoft Teams, just so you know. So on the left-hand side, if I want to get to a team, I go to my chat, which is kind of strange, but here's my teams. So if I want to go to this project team, and I've got a channel called Risk Management, if I want to have a plan that is a part of this risk management channel where we're going to be able to keep track of tasks related to risk management, I could come in here and do that. I can go to the top where my tabs are. I can create as many plans as I need to share with my team that is a part of this channel. I can go to the plus sign. I can click Planner. I give the plan a name, or I could choose an existing plan from the team, but I'm going to actually call this one Manager Plan, and I'm going to click Save. So now this is a shared plan automatically with all of the owners, members, or guests of that team. So this is easier to kind of say, okay, this task list that we want to create for our team, it's part of the team. We access it through here, but I can also access it through my plan, through the Planner app. Any tasks that are assigned to me through this will be available through To Do and through Planner. So now I have this new manager plan, and I can come in and start adding in tasks. I can create my buckets and have everything be organized. But let me show you an existing one that has more in it, just to give you an idea as to how all of these work in a more bigger scale, how they can look in the end for you. I'm going to go to my accounting department team, and I'm going to go to accounts payable. On the top, I have a task list called AP tasks. So this has a few buckets already created. It's got clear the ground and phase 1. And there's a few tasks listed underneath each one of those. And the view that I'm currently using for this, if you look at my icons going across the top, I'm in board view. Board view is like looking at little cards with the details of your task. You can click grid to get columns and rows of your information. Sometimes I use this because it's super easy to add a task and you just tab across to enter the information in. Or we have schedule view. Schedule view is the calendar view where you're going to be able to see the tasks that are happening during different date ranges. So you can navigate the months and things at the top left. But what I really like is the charts view. If you go to charts, this is a dashboard look as to what's going on with your plan. So if I'm the person that's managing this plan, I'm responsible for it. This is where I come to get an at-a-glance look to see where we are with our progress on completing these tasks. So we have status, we have based on buckets, we have based on priority. We also have based on members, people that are actually assigned to the tasks. So the red, of course, is letting us know that we have some things that are overdue, which is because this is just a practice plan. I don't usually have things that are overdue from June and things like that, but just so you could see, we could take advantage of having this available to us. So I love the capabilities that are built in to Microsoft Planner. Planner is very different than To Do in the respect of the plan is built to share with other people. You could have created a plan directly from the Planner app. So I could have come to the Planner app online. I can create a new plan. I can have members so we can assign tasks to other people. We could do it that way. Or, as I just showed, we could do it through Microsoft Teams, where if I'm in a team and I'm in a channel, by default, we do have a task list that is assigned from SharePoint, things like that. And I'll show you SharePoint in just a second. But just so you can see that this already has members because it's the members of the team itself. I don't have to manage the members. The members are managed through the team. This is the way I use it a lot. But I'm going to change my view back to the board view again. If I have tasks that are assigned to me, so you can see my profile circle is on each one of these tasks, except for this one, that one's assigned to student 1, and I can just hesitate on the profile circle to see the name. These tasks, new vendor list, build the spreadsheet, etc., these are in my to-do because they were assigned to me. So I don't have to come into Teams, go to the team, go to the channel, and click AP tasks. I will have access to these exact same tasks in my to-do. I will have access to these same tasks through just Planner. So on the left-hand side, I could go back and click Planner because I'm going to have a list. Here's my AP task, by the way, because I was recently in that plan. I can see my AP tasks right here. If I click on it, I can go back into that plan. I didn't have to jump back and go to the team again, go to the channel, then go to the plan. But I could do that online in Planner also. But not to confuse things, when you're in Teams, it's SharePoint. All of these 365 apps work together. So how do Outlook, Planner, and to-dos all work together? I'm going to go back to Outlook for a second. So both in to-do, we had this My Day. Also in Planner, we had My Day. My Day is now part of the new Outlook. So if I go back to my emails, so I'm checking out my emails, blah, 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 I'm doing that kind of a thing, and I have somebody that is requesting some information and I need to see if I have a task for that, I can be selected on an email or wherever. I don't even have to be clicked on an email. I have access to My Day. By going to the top right of the window, I have this icon called My Day. It's got a check mark with it. When I click on it, up at the top, I can view my calendar and I can click To Do. I use this all day long. So what it's going to do, once it catches up with me here, for some reason it was a little sluggish, but it's going to show me what I have going on with my tasks. So I can be doing that directly through my email without opening up my to-do or planner. So Microsoft really wants us to be able to know what's going on, to be able to have that focus on what is most important that I'm working on right now. I don't have to go to one place to find that. I have lots of ways to do that. So on this right-hand side, you can see that these two are the ones that I've been recently talking about on my day. But why do I have these others? Because they were due. They're already due. So I can show completed down at the bottom as well. And if I want to manage all my tasks, I can go to the bottom right, or I can just simply go to the left-hand side again and click to do. So we have full integration with our 365 apps. We don't have to do anything. The computer's doing the work for us, which is what we want. We want to be more efficient on our time, how we manage our time during the day. And that's why I can't live without these two apps. Anything that is personally related to me is going to be in my to-dos. Anything that I'm going to be working with other people is going to be in Planner. Whether I'm going to Planner in the online app, I'm using it on my phone through the app, or I'm going to Microsoft Teams and using it, these are essential tools. But like I said, I did want to take you into one that was a little bit, had more to it in the plan itself. So I'm actually going to go back to, let me see if this one had one. Otherwise, I should really show you the template. Let me do that. I'm going to actually create a new plan. And I could do so right here. Just so you could see, I went to the bottom of this planner in Teams, and I can create a new plan. So I don't have to go back to the Planner app on its own. I can do this right through Teams. And I'm going to actually use this one called Project Management. Well, actually, on this left-hand side, I'm going to scroll up and down here. These are the different categories. Because if I'm going to be doing a marketing campaign, there's actually a template for that. So always look through what your choices are for the templates. There's a CRM pipeline, there's a help desk ticket one, there's employee onboarding for HR, business plans, sprints, everything. So I'm going to just choose this one called Marketing Campaign because I want you to see what it gives you by default because I love using the templates. So I'm going to click Use Template. On the right-hand side, it's showing me some details, by the way. I'm going to click Use Template. I'm going to keep that name and click OK. So I'm keeping the generic name of Marketing Campaign. And it's going to create this, but what it's going to do is give you buckets already created, and it's going to give you tasks underneath those buckets. So you don't have to start from a blank project plan like I showed you earlier. We can be starting from an existing one. I'm going to click on Board View to show this a little bit easier, but here's the Review Business Strategy tasks. Here's the Analyze Business Models, Develop Campaign Concepts, etc. You can see that it's giving you all these different options. We can then add members to this, share this plan with other people, come in and all of us can be working together on this plan and we didn't have to start from scratch. We're going to go in and manage these tasks at change the names or do some few different things, but this is a great starting point instead of starting from scratch. These two programs, if you have not been using them, my recommendation would be look at your desk. Look at how you're currently doing things. How I got started with using online task lists was taking all my scratch pieces of paper, my sticky notes, and entering them. And if I know they're just for me, I do it in To Do. If I know it's something that I'm going to be working with other people, I go to Planner. So it's going to be a choice that you'll get to make. We can always start a new plan, or we can go to an existing plan that's already created. And last thing that I want to show you is I'm going to go back here to the internet, and I'm going to open up a SharePoint site. This happens to be a SharePoint site that is called Clinic, and on the left-hand side, by default, I have a task list. When I click Task List, it automatically opens Microsoft Planner. So if you're a SharePoint environment as well, if you have a SharePoint site that was created as a team site, you automatically get a task list included, and it is Microsoft Planner, just so you're aware.